Hello, my name is Shaman Manifesto, and welcome to my Conquest of Azeroth Stormbringer class showcase. As a quick note, before I get started, I'd like to remind everyone to keep in mind that Conquest of Azeroth is still in an early alpha stage, and that changes to classes are coming every single day. So while some specifics of classes I might explain might not be completely accurate by the time the game goes live, these videos are more so here to give you a general idea of what you can expect from each class. So I want to thank you for understanding, and also I want to thank the Conquest of Azeroth dev team for doing so much work every day on this awesome project they've got going. Now, let's get on with the show. The Stormbringer is a class that offers the wielder awesome powers revolving around lightning and wind. Though one must be careful, for if they are overwhelmed by the power of the storm, they might be stunned and left defenseless against their enemies. The key to mastering this class is to balance your static to make sure you don't end up like the foolish Stormbringers of the past. Call Lightning will be the first spell you learn on your route to conquer the path of the Stormbringer. It's a simple, yet potent spell that deals impressive damage with only a small static increase to be wary of per cast. This will likely be your highest damaging spell single target as it gets support, which I'll explain later on. To accompany Call Lightning, you'll also learn Slicing Wind, an ability that doesn't have much power behind it, however, it doesn't generate static. So this will likely be your go-to spell when you are nearing your limits and teetering on the edge of electrocution. Thunderstrike is an ability that will deal out a decent amount of damage, but is mostly here to generate static. You might be thinking, why would I want to generate static? Isn't the goal to try and mitigate static generation? Well, yes and no. You want your static to be at a certain threshold, but you never want it to hit 100%, static or else. Well, or else bad things are going to happen. Arm of Thorim, your first multi-target ability that comes with a bit of single-target interaction to it. You see, I'm not 100% sure on the buff, as it doesn't have a tooltip in the spellbook associated with it, but it seems whenever you deal single-target nature damage, that you gain a stack of a buff called Fist of the Gods. Each stack granting you a 20% increased damage buff to the first target hit by Arm of Thorim, maxing out at 20 stacks, or a whopping 400% increased damage, resulting in a 2000 damage non-crit cast. I cannot understate how disgustingly powerful this is. While I can't speak for its effectiveness in PvP, I can most definitely speak for the fact that this is firstly very cool, but also the fact that it will just one-shot almost any non-boss mob within your level range. Finally, the last important ability we've got for single target is Lord of Lightning, the first real traditional damage cooldown ability I've seen so far on Conquest of Azeroth. When cast, Lord of Lightning will supercharge your Call of Lightning spell for 15 seconds, causing it to deal an additional 10% damage, granting it a 30% increased chance to crit, and reducing its cast time by 50%. This adds to the simplicity of the spec, allowing you to benefit from something you were already doing, so honestly, just slam Lord of Lightning on cooldown and start blasting your foes with more nature damage. Stormbringer may have a small but potent arsenal for single target damage, and the same can be said for their AoE, whereas other specs feel like they might only have one or two AoE abilities with niche conditions. The Stormbringer has access to 4 entire AoE abilities. Arm of Thorim, which you already saw, and then 3 non-target AoE abilities, first of which being Summon Lightning Orb, an ability that places a lightning orb on the ground with a health pool that does a diabolical amount of damage with only a 15-second cooldown. Conjure Storm, a less potent ability that still deals a good amount of damage over 10 seconds on a 20-second cooldown, and one last important piece of AoE tech being Body of Lightning, an ability with a 45-second cooldown that wraps the caster's body in lightning, dealing damage to all enemies nearby over 10 seconds, while also regenerating 2% of your mana every 2 seconds over its duration. With these abilities combined, you can do an absolutely devastating amount of AoE damage within a short span of time. Some of these would also do nicely in PvP to provide good zoning and control, given their ease of use. The path of the Stormbringer is short and sweet, so let's finish off with our honorable mentions for abilities. Firstly, we've got Windguard, a pretty good party buff that grants you and all your homies a good chunk of magic resist. Tempest, your go-to mobility that is on a hilariously short cooldown with 0 cost associated with it. Discharge, your personal defensive cooldown that boasts a huge 90% damage reduction for 6 seconds while also reducing your static to 0. And finally, Mystic Thunder, the Stormbringer interrupt spell that has a little bit of damage behind it, This spell previously was used for single target DPS, but not so much anymore as the damage has been nerfed a good bit. For the best, honestly. Mystic Thunder was supposed to be the last ability that I mentioned, however in post I realized I forgot about an Invigorating Surge. A 5-second duration channeled heal that you have that increases the target's dodge chance by 15% over the duration. This is on a very short cooldown of 12 seconds, so it'll come in very handy while leveling, or in dungeons if you might want to tag your tank for a second to give them a little bit of a defensive boost. As usual, I want to thank everyone for watching these videos, and hope to see you around for the next one. Additionally, if you want to follow me on other sites, I also have a Twitter account where I retweet memes and such and post random things regarding World of Warcraft and other things I enjoy. See you around. Shaman Manifesto, out.